Ohio State crushes Western Kentucky 63-10. We are grading Kyle McCord for the first time as Ohio State's full-time starting quarterback this season. 19 of 23, 318 yards, and 3 touchdowns. No picks, but he did lose a fumble on a sack, which he took full blame for making just not getting rid of the ball quick enough and saying his offensive line gave him enough time. Andrew, what is your grade for Kyle McCord?
So the first couple of weeks of the season, I graded him a little bit on a curve. I mentioned the Indiana game. I graded him as a B-, first start, things like that. Last week, I think it was a B+, but I think that curve is starting to go away now. I mean, you've got to start ramping this up. So I'm going to stick with B+, because the thing that I saw from McCord today was, yeah, he looked really confident. Yeah, he made a couple of nice throws, but the Marvin Harrison Jr. touchdown, every quarterback on the roster is making that throw, right? I remarked to Nathan in the press box, there were a lot of guys that were just running wide open in Western Kentucky's secondary. So I thought McCord did what he had to do. I thought he was good enough. He didn't do anything that made me go, wow, what a day from Kyle McCord. But that's not his fault. He hit the open guys. He did what he was supposed to do. Next week, we're going to have a fun test where we can see really how much he's grown in the first couple of weeks of the season. But again, he wasn't making these just high and tight out route throws where nobody else could get it but the receiver. So I'll stick with a B+, and it's not necessarily B+ because I thought he did anything wrong. I just thought Ohio State's offense, they were running at such a clip where guys were just running so wide open that, it would have been hard for him to miss those guys. So I think a B+ is fair.
Steven, higher or lower than B+?
That exact reason is why I'm giving him an A. I'll put the minus on there since he took blame for the fumble. Fine, so you knock him a little bit for that. But one, I love the way he responded. After that, they scored on 6 of 7 drives in the first half. And I'm not going to fault Ohio State's quarterbacks for Ohio State's weapons being 5 yards open, because this is not the last time this is going to be the case. C.J. Stroud, that was the case with him. That was the case with Justin Fields a lot of time. They're just good out on the outside of those weapons. But the way he responded, I even asked Emeka Egbuka about it, and he just kind of shrugged it off like, oh, he was fine. He doesn't really get like that. As we've come to, he's here all the time, and he was here after that play, and then they went out and had 2 one-play drives for touchdowns. I think that's what matters here. He doesn't have to be special. That's the point. He just has to hit the open guy, whether the open guy is 30 yards open or 5 yards open, and I thought he did that consistently, especially in the first half. So I'm giving him an A-.
Man, I'm tempted to say you lose a ball in a strip sack, it bumps you down out of A territory. I'm tempted to say it. I think I am going to say it. I think I'm going to say this was B+. Especially because he's one, and we thought it at the time too, that he had enough time there to make a better decision and not lose the ball. And if you can take a sack there, you can't turn the ball over. And it's not like he's the first Ohio State quarterback to lose a ball in a strip sack. Saw Justin Fields fumble, saw C.J. Stroud fumble. He'll recover, and he did, as you said. Immediately came right back out and put on a little bit of a laser show there. So I'm going to say B+, but I think, Andrew, you're right as far as the curve. I think next week is a different kind of a curve because it doesn't have to be flashy and big lights and huge numbers, 300 yards passing, whatever. It's just about winning the game. You're going on the road, and you have to find a way to beat Notre Dame in their backyard, and it's a different standard. So I think you saw things today from Kyle McCord with the full week of preparation, all those number 1 reps. I'm really curious what this week means building towards next week. Like, just all of those reps that he got this week, how do they help him prepare for what's coming up next week? Do you start to see the snowball rolling downhill a little bit? The momentum starts to build for him, whether that's mentally, physically, everything that goes into that. We're going to talk about this a whole lot more on Buckeye Talk. Get it wherever you can find podcasts, and get the text 614-350-3315. News, analysis, everything right after the game, during the game, before the game, all week from Buckeye Talk.